My final Epic of Pain path video is going to be the far right path, the Spider-Ham path, taking with the Mutant and Mystic objectives. And if I'm being honest with you, I think this might have been the most fun path for me. I'm using Professor X, Dazzler, and Kushala, and we're starting against this pig here. I'm about to speed up the video because at a large portion of the fight I didn't understand what I was doing, and then I'm going to skip to like when I start reading the nodes again and realize what I am doing. But we're starting against the Spider-Ham. The reason we're using Professor X is mainly because Professor X completely shut off Pig's evade. So one thing I don't always remember to do is avoid hitting the opponent in the corner. That is basically the additional node that this fight and this path really has, is you don't want to hit them in the corner, otherwise you're going to take damage. If you did the Necropolis path that also had this node, you might be used to this by now. And yeah, so just don't hit them a bunch in the corner and then you'll be okay. And it was at this point in the fight where I'm like, okay, why is this going so poorly? What exactly do I need to be doing to get this right? And then someone in the chat told me that the way you're supposed to approach this fight is just by throwing the special attack that you have under your icon on the HUD, and make sure you have 3 debuffs on that special attack that you throw. If you need to change which special attack it's calling you to throw, you want to use a different combo ending attack, which is a little annoying for Professor X, because if he uses his 4th light attack, he goes into mind control prematurely if you're at 50 charges or higher. So that does mess with him some, but it's going to be okay. At this point, we are just trying to get to an SP3 with the maximum charges, and then have those 3 debuffs on me. And as you can see there, I did. What that's going to do is it's going to basically reflect all the power sting damage, as you can see there. And then we want to do the same thing again. We're going to get another SP3 just before my mind control runs out, so I'm going to have a little bit of power after this attack still. And then it does a bunch of damage. He's at 25% now. I need to drop a special 1, it says, but I think I'm going to wait for the timer to change to SP2. And then I get my vigilance back, so he can't evade, because Professor X's vigilance does counter evade. It is the only vigilance in the game that also hits evade, which is, pretty cool, I guess. So now I'm going to go for a 4th light attack. That's going to change the bar of power I was supposed to use to a special 1, and then the fight is over. So yeah, that's why I sped that fight up so much, because earlier in the fight I didn't know what I was doing. That's probably why I was at 4% health at the end of the fight. But now that I understood it later, once the chat was telling me a bit more of how to approach the fight, then it all ended up working out. So thank you, chat. As always, or not as always, but as the past few videos have gone, we are recording these from my live stream. So I'm just editing the clips and explaining to you my approach, and even if I make a bunch of mistakes, a lot of that's just because I was streaming, so my head's not always in the correct place. So now we're fighting this Viv Vision with Kushala. Kush kind of destroys this fight. If you don't have Kush, it's definitely going to be a bit more of a struggle, because there is a lot going on in this fight. You want to push Viv to a special 2, or if you're going to bait an SP1, it can be unblockable, which is not going to be good. Kushala can block unblockable attacks if she has her blue spell, which is pretty easy to manage. So one main gimmick in this fight is you really want to make sure you are ending your combos every 16 seconds so that you are not going to let her get an evade. She is going to get an evade charge every 16 seconds if you do not do a combo ender, and you really need to make sure to not let her have that, or otherwise she's going to evade. I mean, it's not a necessarily terrible thing if she does, let's be real, but it is annoying. I'm dropping that SP1 there. I'm not sure why. I really don't know why I dropped that SP1, but anyway, with this other node, you need to parry her special attacks, her special 2 at least, which can be a lot more difficult than it looks initially. Like, I'm going to be messing up some of them still, but at least we're going to go for this special 2, and then the special 1, she's going to just throw it hard into my block, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. Oh wait, it's okay, because it's not going to be unblockable, and it doesn't do damage to me like I originally thought it was going to do. So we're actually fine. There is a node that I didn't really think about initially that is going to set a timer when I use a heavy, and then I have a certain amount of time to actually drop a special attack, or else I'm going to take damage. So I used a heavy attack a few times in the fight and didn't exactly know what to do about it, but we didn't end up dying to it, so that's cool. Alright, now we're using Dazzler versus this Annihilus. Professor X also can do this Annihilus. Anyone can do this Annihilus, you just need to have 3 buffs to do damage, so you need to find a champion with 3 buffs. If they have 3 buffs, they're probably going to work for this fight. The main gimmick of this fight is having 3 buffs, and then the node that is going to tell you that you need to parry the projectile in his special 1, or else you're going to take 10% damage. And then it's the same deal if you push him to an SP2, however, you can't parry every hit in the SP2, obviously, so you're just going to lose like half your health if you push him there. So don't ever push him to SP2. I'm using Dazzler. I'm just going to be doing initially just a special 1 into a special 2. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for an SP3 rotation after that. So it only did like 25% of his health, so now we're going to go for the SP3 rotation because I know that's going to do a lot more damage. So that's exactly what we're doing. I don't know why I dropped an SP1 there. At least I think I do the SP3 rotation. I mean, it was on stream like several days ago, so maybe I did something that I didn't think I did. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to eat that SP1 there, so now I have a permanent stifle on me. As a reminder, Unstoppable triggers when you dash back and you have a stifle on you. That is how Annihilus' stifle works. And it looks like I didn't go for an SP3 like I thought I did. So we're going to see a big SP2, question mark. Is that what's about to happen? Yes, that's exactly what's about to happen. And it brings him, holy crap, all the way down 26%. Okay, so yeah, we didn't go for an SP3. We didn't need to. We're just going to do SP1, SP2 the whole fight, and hopefully just not die. I got caught on a dash back there, but we lived to see another day. And now I need to get to another SP2. I'm like, okay, if I get to another SP2, he's going to die. Hopefully we just survive that long. I'm actually going to drop another SP1 just to get some more tempo. So my SP2 is going to like be a guaranteed kill, because with 100 tempo, you're definitely finishing that off. With the lower amount of tempo that I had initially, maybe not. But yeah, you can see that SP2 does well enough damage to finish the job. Now we're going to fight Mole Man. Another fight Kushala is very good for. If you do not have Kushala, Onslaught does this fight. Onslaught might be able to do the Viv as well. I know some people were asking me, if you don't have Kushala, how do you take the Viv? Onslaught could potentially do that fight. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't really seen it happen, but I think it could work. Onslaught rips apart this fight too, so definitely look into him if you have the 7-star version. If you don't, like me, I only have a 6-star Onslaught, then you might not be able to do it because of the 7-star gate. So that would be a little unfortunate, but yeah, Kushala rips this fight apart. This is going to go a bit slower than I've seen it also go. Basically, you want to get some DOT effects going. You want Mole Man to be dropping specials when they are active, and then all the damage that he takes during his special attack, he's going to take like 300% of it at the end. So the entire goal is to be doing DOT damage during Mole's specials. So we are going to be placing a bunch of Incinerates, baiting special attacks at that point, and then hoping he just takes a bunch of damage from them. Kushala has so much regen on her block that you can just be basically immortal on the block. She also can block unblockables, so Bubble Shield doesn't matter. So she's just so good for this fight, as I've already said. We want to keep as many blessings up as possible. Keep our ability accuracy high, hopefully get some passive Incinerates from Kushala's Sig ability, and then I just need Mole Man being aggressive for the specials. At that point, it's just about repeating the process until he eventually drops. That was a nice burst of damage there. He threw another one, which is great, and now we're going to keep playing aggressive, keep getting those blessings active, keep our ability accuracy high, and then you go for another SP1 here. That's going to place 9 Incinerates. And then Mole is just taking the damage, ideally during his specials if he decides to throw them, which sometimes he doesn't. But at this point, I'm going to speed the fight up because it's just about getting him down. And yeah, Mole is almost dead, 17%. Unfortunately, he did run out of Frenzy, so now I need to push him back into it, which is a little bit faster via the Sun Immunity node. As a reminder, Mole Man gains Monster Mass charges not only from Purifying, but also being immune to an effect. In normal cases, that's just Shock, but in this case, because he has the Stun Immunity node, it is Stun as well. So, I let the special animation play out, and then he dies. So that's 4 solos so far, and now we are going to fight this Danny Moonstar with Dazzler. This is another fight that I didn't have a great initial strategy, and then I'm eventually going to find out, oh wait, that's going to be really useful for this fight. In this case, dexing Danny's SP2, because I'm out of practice with dexing that, so I died the first time she dropped it. And then I realized, oh wait, I can do this funny thing that Dazzler does. Entire bullet duos, the two of them, two rounds of bullets that she does, just make them get faltered, and then you don't have to worry about it. So what we're just going to do is make sure we have our Dazzling Dash attack ready every single time Danny gets a special 2, and then use it, and then we're not going to have to worry about dexing it, because I can just make it miss. Now we're dropping the SP2. He does some nice damage just before the energy vulnerability falls off. Here I'm going to have to dex it, which luckily I do. And then I'm going to go for maybe a sidestep here. I want to get away from the corner because I don't want to trigger the node too much. And then here, SP1, Danny's going to drop an SP2. And look at that. Dazzling Dash, trigger the falter, and don't have to worry about those bullets. So I think the time you saw earlier in the attempt where I had to dex a special 2 is the only other time I really need to. So heavy attack into another special 2, Danny's at 16%, we have a Dazzling Dash ready, and at this point, let's just get far away from the corner again, then go for a sidestep. If you don't know how to sidestep, it doesn't work for every character, but Danny Moonstar has a medium that pushes her very far across the map, so it's pretty easy to dex the medium and then follow up with a light attack. Again, this doesn't work against every champion, but depending on the animations of the champ, in this case, Danny's medium pushes her very far, you can make that sidestep. So, now we're going to use Prof X for this Tigra here. Another question I've been asked is, what champions other than Professor X take Tigra? The answer is any mutant or a mystic that doesn't rely on red numbers is the best way to go. So Onslaught wouldn't do good for it. Dazzler could probably do this fight. What are some other mystics that don't need red numbers? I can't think of a lot off the top of my head, because I kind of just knew what my team was going to be for this path pretty fast. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of mutants out there who don't even need any form of red numbers. Sauron comes to mind for some reason, which you might be wondering, why does Sauron come to mind when you think of a mutant first who doesn't need any red numbers? You'll see in a future video, hopefully, why Sauron comes to my mind. Anyway, for this Tigra fight, I think I died and then restarted. I might have restarted the game, actually. I had a really bad attempt and then I restarted. The goal is to just parry heavy literally the whole freaking time until you get to a special 3, and the heavy attack is going to make it to where you're going to eventually get the vigilance. You're eventually never going to be able to miss. If you keep using that one hit heavy, you're just not going to get the neutralize on you, because if you parry heavy, you're not going to be next to her for more than a total of 2 seconds. That's how the neutralize gets activated on you. We hit skip SP3. As you saw earlier in the video, I'm running mutant powerbacks, which is going to be pretty helpful later in this fight once we get our prowess ramped up and going. So go for another SP1 there, and we have 8 stacks of prowess. Channel a little bit, and now I need to go for another SP3. Once we get there, the fight's over. Because even with Tigra having 75% at this moment, we're going to have enough damage, even without the red burst on Professor X's SP2, to just finish the fight out. And this is only a rank 2 Professor X. Granted, he is boosted. However, you should be boosting for this content anyway. It's the most endgame content out right now, so if you have boosts, use them. which is why I'm using both a green 30% boost and mutant power backs. So yeah, we're just going to go for an SP2 spams. Even with the power backs nerf, Professor X is still very, very good, as you can see. Here, I need a special 2 again, and that's almost lights out. SP1 will kill, I think. It gets a crit at the end. Yep, 75k crit. And that's that fight. Professor X with Mutant Power X is still really good, guys. Don't worry about it. Alright, now we're going to fight Ares in the final 7 minutes of this video. Just going to show some of my better attempts, some of how I died, and just talk general improvement over this fight, honestly. Yeah, this is my 6th run, so I think I'm going to talk a lot about how I improved from my first attempt to my now 6th attempt. I stopped using the pause mechanic to see what special he was throwing in the later phases. The reason I did that is just because I didn't want to. I wanted to challenge myself to try to have a better reaction time, try to look at visual cues, try to just, again, react very fast to get better at it. And if you can figure out what the initial sword slash or axe slash is going to be, then you're probably going to have a decent time avoiding special attacks, because you're going to eventually get into a rhythm where it's like, okay, dex, parry, parry, light, dex, special 1. Parry, parry, light, dex, dex, swipe up, special 2. You're just eventually going to get into that rhythm. That's what happened to me. So the challenge that remains is figuring out what the first special attack is. I don't know why I paused here. It was probably to read chat or something. When am I going to unpause? I'm going to unpause in a minute, I'm sure. Anyway, I really, really like how this fight doesn't tell you that there is a best counter and this is it. There are 5 best counters. These are them. You can use any character whatsoever for this quest, and it's really great. The only thing you don't want to use is Hercules, and I've actually seen someone use Hercules for some reason, I guess to prove a point or something, and they eventually got Ares down by using only Hercules, which is really funny, but obviously not something I'd recommend. But that's okay, because you can use the other 299 champs in this game. I'm pretty sure that Joaquin Torres is actually the 300th champ, which is really, really cool that we finally reached that many. So you have 299 other picks to go through, which is perfect, because as I know some other creators have said, that was really embarrassing, like 15 seconds there. I just went from like full health to dead so fast. As some other creators have said, the best part about Ares not making you rank up a specific counter is the fact that you can focus all of your planning and counters to the paths, which I think is really cool, because I never worried at one point at all who would a good Ares counter be. Even my very first run, when I knew a little bit about only a little bit about his kit, I knew that he like shut off everything. I knew that there wasn't going to be like a great option. I knew I didn't want to bring regeneration champs, which turns out you really still can. I knew that I wouldn't need to worry about bringing a specific Ares counter. I could focus all of my team building on just the path, and that was it. And I really like that. Some people complain that you can't use red numbers. Some people say Kabam is being unfair because of that. I think that is a brilliant decision, and it makes this fight so much better that they don't let you have red numbers. Because then you're just like, okay, well, the better play would be to bring a red numbers champ. So if a red numbers champ doesn't fit on my path, well, now I got to work around trying to find a red numbers champ. And it just makes everything much more stressful, and it means that you're not evening out the, I guess, team building. It just means you have to like fill another team slot with a great Ares counter, when in reality, everyone works for him except Hercules. I'm going to die to a reversal there because I just forgot about the thing. Anyway, going back in with Dazzler, we have 6 Vigor, so you can see I've used like 6 revives on this fight already. I think on my final run I used like 10 or so revives on Ares. Like, I know so many people are doing this cheaper than I am. I like the fight. I'm not great at the fight. Like, I mess up this thing so often. the audio and visual cues, I don't always catch them when I should. So I know a lot of people are doing this cheaper than I am, but I still really like the fight. I think it's genuinely really cool. When it comes back with like different special animations and stuff, which I believe is the goal that they're going to go for, I'm going to be interested in getting better at it, because this boss really makes you want to get better at fighting him, which is another really great thing about it. Sometimes you fight like what's a good example? Glycon, and you're like, okay, well, now that I've got this down, now I just feel like I have to do the same thing 3 times to get exploration of the quest and stuff. And with Ares, I didn't feel that way. I was just like, okay, well, I'm looking forward to taking him again on my 6th attempt, because I want to get better at this fight. I want to try to use less items. I want to try to have a really successful time. So anyway, in this final phase, I don't like the final phase. It's really, really hard, and it feels a little BS at times. But another thing that you probably could use in this final phase is sidestepping to get around the haste a little bit. I don't think I did that a lot. But yeah, sidestepping can help you get around the unstoppable, which is really nice. And there, I don't know what happened. I swear I parried, but I guess I didn't. So we're going to go back in, try to get him down a little bit. And overall, even with all the pain and frustration that I probably sounded like I was having during the stream, I genuinely think this is a really cool boss. I really like it. They did a really good job designing it. I love the goal that they were going for, and it went really successfully. I don't necessarily like that your first attempt is just trying to just figure out what the hell is happening, because your first attempt is just gonna feel so bad. Like, I can't do anything, I don't understand these animations, I can't figure out the parry timing. It was a little annoying with that. Whereas, like, when fighting Glycon my first time, I knew like how to avoid his special attacks like super easily and stuff. Ares, it was like, I'm gonna maybe understand how his special attacks work after dying 30 times. But once you get your later attempts going, like my 3rd attempt, I was really starting to consistently get the special attacks down. It's like, okay, so this feels a lot better now. Now that I understand the threat that I'm facing. And yeah, it's just a matter of getting there. Once you start getting those special attacks countered successfully, you feel really good, and it's something that makes you want to come back. At least for me, it did. Some people hate Ares. I love this boss. Even with the amount of items I threw into it, I genuinely love this boss. So the rewards opening will be for a separate video, because this video is just devoted to team building and talking about Ares and just watching the fights before him. So rewards video sooner or later. If you have a channel membership, you will be able to see it earlier. But that's about it. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them, and I hope you enjoyed watching the video. See you in the next one.